So if you go to technology services through the Southeast Kansas page and then go to technology tips, you'll see the 24 technology grant workshop. That's the link for the bookmarks. We'll have links to some of the other stuff, including the PowerPoint. And like I said, I did some position improvements where went ahead and made it where we won't have to go as much to the websites to get information on some of the topics. So let's go ahead and first of all, my name is Darren Doherty. I'm a technology consultant. I believe I have met almost all of you. Maybe there might be one or two that I haven't yet. But what we're doing today is I'm trying to give you some details and guidelines from the competitive grant, and then get some possible ideas for the grant, and then also look at some other resources available. There's going to be some resources that we might be Southeast Kansas is looking at trying to get a grant to get some items that we're talking about, but obviously that's not guaranteed. And then we have E-rate funds that some of you are aware of that I want to make sure that you know that there are certain items that we could go ahead and get paid, or we can get those paid for at the beginning of next year if you're able to wait. If you're not able to wait, then you are more than welcome to apply for the technology grant for those. And then we'll work on we'll have discussion and questions if anybody has any. So the key things on the guidelines, it opened today. We went ahead and we made an adjustment instead of having it where it's last week. And I went ahead and added an extra week to the time period that we're accepting grant applications. So this can be used for all types of equipment and technology needs. I'm going to have some stuff on here as makerspace stuff, but anything that is technology, basically if it plugs in or if it can run on a battery, then we will consider it. I know that some of you are going to need to address some computer issues, and we'll talk about computers. And I know that there's a few of you out there for printers, and then there's some of you that would like to do something unique, maybe to provide a service for your patrons that they don't have right now. Priority will be given to grants with a single focus or project. And Sharon, that's still the focus, correct?
Right. So the change that was made is that in the past, you couldn't do multiple things that weren't somehow related. So if you needed a receipt printer and you needed a monitor for a different computer, that was immediately disallowed. And we changed that in the grant criteria this year. So if you do have some things that maybe don't have a single focus, you can still apply for a grant. Just know that priority is going to be given to folks and to those grants that do have a single focus or have figured out how to make this all into a project for the committee that's reviewing them to consider.
And remember, she gave an example of a couple of things that are items that you need to upgrade or make sure it's current. Single focus could be trying to upgrade upgrade some of the important equipment to meet the needs of the patrons. So that's one way to make it a single focus. Now, if you're trying to get VR machine and then trying to get a new computer or to replace, then you'll have to figure out some way to try to make it where it is a focus. But I don't think it's too hard to try to tie most of our needs together. So primary is a new project or purpose, but expansion of successful programs and updating equipment would be considered. And then all Southeast Kansas members are eligible to apply. I know that we have at least one academic online. I believe Todd is online for us. And then I don't know if anybody else is, but then I know school districts are also, but we'll go to the next page on that one. The key thing for schools. Thought it was on here. Only one school from a school district can apply for the grant. Okay, so 75% of the total project costs, with a maximum of up to 2,000 may be requested. Most of the examples I'm going to talk today are going to be 2,000 below, but if you have this, if you have something that you're wanting that's 6,000 and you want us to fund 2,000 of it, and you have the funds for, to go ahead and pay for the other, you're more than welcome to. This does not have to be something that's just in the 2,000, 2,500 range. It's trying to supplement money that you are already committing. And so just to remember that, application, like I said, I went ahead and changed the application due date to October 11th. And we do have online submission, and we would strongly encourage you to use the online submission. And if you have any issues, you can ask myself or Jake, and we'll try to help you the best we can. Okay, so we got feasibility, or we're going to be ranking it. Benefit to local service, feasibility of project, including the ability of the library to implement and sustain, and then clarity of the application. We're not wanting everybody to be perfect at grant applications. We want you to concentrate on trying to get your message of what you're wanting to do here. And if you have a question of, hey, am I saying what I want to say clear enough? Just ask, and I'll help you out with that. Or if Sharon, you can ask Sharon or anyone else of the Southeast Kansas staff, and we'll do the best we can to help you out. Again, you're not going to be perfect grant writers, and that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for we're looking for good projects, but obviously there's tiebreakers, and your clarity of your grant application will be considered for stuff like that. Grant funds, checks for 3/4 of the grant amount would be received around October 31st. I didn't change that date, Sharon. I figured that would still be about the same. And then you'll get the disbursement of all the remaining amount, or the amount needed to reach the project costs. And then you do have, by July 31st, you have reporting requirements. And I went ahead and just took the document. I put the key things on here in the next page. Again, this is due by July 31st. You can request an extension. I'm not sure what the guidelines on that, but I'm believing that Sharon, you're probably the decision maker on that. Okay. So, and you report all the costs directly associated with the project, attach the documentation, and then send everything to Brenda on her email there. And then you got your total expended, your grant share, grant funds already received, and amount due. So those are our key things as far as on the application and the requirements. Are there any questions before we go to talking about some ideas of what you might look at, and with the initial focus being on the stuff that you might need to get upgraded now? Sharon?
Well, just so everybody, especially our new folks, this is a 75-25. You have to have, we'll only support 75% of the project. So 25% of the total cost will have to come from local funds, from I think in-kind funds. We do, can't be staff time, but it can be donations that have an amount. So it is a matching grant. Not all of our competitive grants are matching grants, but this is one that does require a 25% match.
Sharon, I had a question on that. Later on, I'm going to be talking about TechSoup, because that's a good resource for them to get discounts on stuff already. Are they able to count that discount as part of the match too?
I don't know. I mean, that could be that could be a couple $100 in a match.
Okay.
I will write myself a note and see if that's been done in the past. That's my only,
Okay,
I'll look.
I saw the TechSoup and saw that they actually had some, maybe some discounts that we don't have with Dell computers that you can possibly get through your TechSoup account. So I wanted to make sure that we address that, and hopefully, we'll get you an answer as quick as we can. Dell computers and Dell monitors. Now, these are the quotes that I have from Dell right now. Some of you are going to look at these quotes and you're going to think, well, I can go to Amazon and get them a little bit cheaper, and you might be able to. Here's some advantages that we're seeing with, we've done most of our purchases now through Dell Direct, and we're getting good response on warranty. Anything that is broken, they're fixing it, and they're also sending out professionals on a couple of occasions that we've needed it. So sometimes the warranties that you're going to get from Dell might not be the same as what you're getting from a third party distributor through Amazon. Yes, Sharon.
Are you finding that the Dell monitors, all the different ports and things that can serve as auxiliary USB ports are better with the Dell? They work more reliably than with maybe the off-brand monitors?
I don't know if we've really seen that. Jake, have you experienced that part?
I think they're pretty comparable to what you can get on Amazon as far as the product itself. I don't have any problems with monitors really very often.
It's
more the computer part.
And one thing to think on the computer part, like I've got here, you can see the price difference with a DVD player is almost $100. You can get $25 external DVD drives out there. So I know that we don't use the DVDs as much as we used to, but there are still some patrons that will come to your library, and that's how they get their access to their DVDs that they check out. So there are options to go ahead and try to save a little bit of money by getting an external drive, which also allows you to go ahead and be able to switch that to multiple computers. And then the monitors, this is what the quotes are that we've received from Dell. Like Jake said and Sharon said, we're not as concerned so much about if you want to get a monitor through Amazon, or if you want to get a refurbished monitor. I mean, that's something you can consider. I'll talk about refurbished computers here on the next slide. Okay. Most of you have already got to solid state drives instead of hard drives, and that's important because the solid state drives are a lot quicker on retrieval of information, and they're also lasting longer. Most of you, I don't think we're going to have any new computers now that we ever purchase that will have hard drives. They're all going to have solid state drives. The item I want to talk about on the refurbished computers. Remember that one of the major concerns that we have this year is the end of life support date is October 14th of 2025 for Windows 10. There's some of you that have some Windows 11 capable computers, but as you can see, not some of the computers, if you go from Windows 10 to Windows 11, even if they're compatible, it does slow down the machine a little bit, and it causes some concerns. I really will stress that you shouldn't try not to get refurbished computers, and that we try to get stuff direct from Dell, or we can see if there's other options. But one of the reasons that we're trying to do is get the Windows 10 issue or the Windows 11 issue addressed. If you get a computer that's already a year old, you're already a year behind on your overall lifespan of what that Windows 11 is going to support. So Does anybody have any questions on that part? Okay, I don't see anything. Okay, somebody asked a question the other day, and I didn't know that we really had it, and then, Sharon made us all read the Southeast Kansas guidelines, because directors do that.
It's the state of Kansas guidelines.
Okay. Well, it's right now it says Southeast Kansas because of my mistake. I apologize. But gateway computers, the guideline is that you should have a minimum of 3. And then linking 4, Service Center 1, 6, Service Center 2, 8, and Major Service Center, which we have 2 of you, is 12. That does not mean you can't have more than that, but this is when you start considering, hey, do I really need 6 computers if 3 of them are being used? I'm a gateway computer or gateway library, and 3 of my computers are mainly used for games or something for the kids. Should I look at tablets, or should I look at a game system or an alternative that if I'm trying to address the needs of my teenage patrons, maybe getting a computer for the desktop is that's not the only way I can go. We'll be talking about learner tablets for younger patrons. And one thing I did want to talk about right now is the all computers are right now, they're $3,622 is what their price right out of the bag is, or box. However, there are discounts, and it is easy to get this down to 2,000 or maybe 2,400. So the all computers are going to be pushing it as far as what this grant could provide for you, unless you have other funds. But I'm going to talk about some other alternatives for the all computers. And maybe, I think the last time that most of the libraries addressed the all computers, it was a grant that was provided by the state, and that might be, we might have to look at a bigger grant for something like that and try to address them. But I know a few of you have good luck with your all computers, and some of them are a little bit older. So just wanted to throw that out there. And then oh, there we go. Okay, so here's some alternatives. I've got a link to Kaplan, and most of these are off of the Kaplan technology site. But for a learner tablet with some software, 319, or it's got software on it that's designed more for early literacy. The Shine Plus Max Desktop, which is probably that's probably fairly close to Kaplan's product that's comparable to the all computer. But then they also have a Shine 2 tablet solution that is $849 that also has software on it that is geared to early literacy. You might consider that. And if at any time, if you're needing help to talk to one of the vendors on trying to get information, feel free to let me know, because I've got contacts with most of the people that we're talking about, or most of the vendors. I've got some contacts out there that I can try to get more information. That's one of the reasons, or that's one of the purposes of our staff here, is to try to help you make some good decisions on that. Galaxy tablets, this I believe just had regular software, and that's why Jake went ahead and recommended that we also put iPads out there. Right now, the current price is $329. And then the all tablet, I just wanted to, it's also $3,622 with discounts being available. But so you might, again, the Shine 2 tablet or the Shine Plus Max Desktop might be an alternative to consider. Okay, we'll go to the webpage here in a second. I know that some folks have talked about virtual reality and augmented reality. I know that some of you are going to have to address your computer needs, but some of you might have some ideas that or some desires to add something to your patrons. The Rugs Alive small rectangle or in the large rectangle, it has what's called an augmented reality application that will go on a tablet. And so when they look at the rug with the animals, then and they turn on the tablet portion, it looks like the elephant is coming out of the rug. And they got some additional software that you can get for that too. And then the virtual reality headsets, MetaQuest and Vive are the two companies that look like they have probably the best products on the market. And if you have other recommendations, let me know, and then I'll do research on those and see. But these are the ones that I would probably, if I was spending my money, these would be the ones that I would go with. And items start at $400 or $500 or $1,000 for the MetaQuest Pro and the MetaQuest 3. And then some of it's just headsets, and some of it you actually get some controllers and some other things to give you a little bit more responsibility or a little bit more possibility. Then the one thing that you do have to figure out is how you're going to use the VR, and there are going to be some games that you might have to get, or hopefully I've been looking for vacation packages and things that we might be able to use for older populations, or just we have a lot of Southeast Kansas people that haven't been out of Southeast Kansas, and maybe they want to see well, we can easily see the tornadoes, but we don't want to see them ever first anyway, but maybe a volcano or something like that. So that's one thing that you can consider on there. There are some possibilities. And if you are thinking, hey, I really want VR, but I really want to try to figure out some programs first, let us know, and we try to. I've been doing some research on some things, trying to get a little bit more familiar with that area, because I do know that at least 3 of you have talked about possibly getting something for your teenagers, or getting something for just all your patrons. Are there any questions on the virtual reality and augmented reality right now? Okay, I'm not seeing anything. Okay. Possible ideas for the grant, the makerspace items, 3D printers, laser engraver, cutters, Cricut cutters. We also have overhead cameras, scanners, 3D scanners. I'll be talking about some of those and giving you some ideas of prices. One of the things I wanted to do is, instead of going to the websites for some of the basic prices, I just went ahead and did some screenshots where they showed different products for this particular item. So like, these are overhead book scanners. They do have Book Eyes scanners that are at $5,000 or $6,000. I don't think any of us will ever need any of those. But if you've got people that are doing local history projects, or you're also working on stuff with your special collection, you might not want to go ahead and get the scanners that you have to put on the document bed. The overhead scanners it saves a lot of wear and tear on your books. And so you got anywhere from 129 for something simple that's good for flat documents, as it says here, and then, or you can go all the way to stuff for glossy paper, thicker books and magazines and photos that will go as high as $640. Unless there's any questions on there, I'm going to go to the next possible idea. 3D scanners. I still consider this fairly new technology. I know I bought a 3D scanner for Coffee County about 6 years ago, and I wasn't really impressed with it at that time. But the quality has got better. But this is, if you're trying to integrate your 3D printing program or trying to integrate where you're actually able to put stuff into programming or into some of the software, this is something to consider. I'm not going to go in great detail on here, but you can see it's $300 to $900. But this is something that some of you probably have not thought of. But there, it is a way, especially if you've got a 3D printer or other 3D options, you might want to see if there's a way that you can try to enhance that. Okay, on the makerspace prices for 3D printers. For the most part, the tech department here would recommend either Bamboo Lab computers or Creality computers. The Bamboo Lab, I just went ahead and put, so they're $500 to $1,200. If you are looking at getting an X1 Carbon, Brittany, who I believe is online, she actually has one, and you can talk to her about the advantages and disadvantages. But do remember that if you get a 3D printer or any of this cool stuff, you also have to try to figure out how are you going to utilize this and what kind of programming. I think, Brittany, do you have any, Brittany or Connie or any of you that are with 3D printers right now, do you have anything that you want to share?
I've done a couple of workshops now to show people how to use the 3D printing, what sites to get on and all of that. And really, I have not had a lot of response like I thought I would.
Okay.
We've done more tours for groups and demonstrated, and then some of them have come in afterwards, but I'm kind of where Brittany is. It's, you know, it's kind of hit and miss. Sometimes it gets a lot of use, sometimes it doesn't.
Is Rachel online? Well, Matthew, you're online. What has been your experience? I saw that you actually bought a second one and you're thinking about a third one. So what kind of things have you been doing that maybe could, the folks that are already have 3D printers or the ones that are considering 3D printers but are not getting very excited about their possibilities here? I know, Andrea, I think you had a 3D printer and you, but it was an older one and you decided to phase that out. But Matthew, you have any suggestions?
Matt's in the chat. He said, we've had a few classes mainly aimed at children. A few older people are getting more interested. And Brandon says, I have a pretty steady use on my 3D printer. We're looking into getting a second one here at Parsons.
Okay. I will say this, that Matthew, I don't know if Parsons or some of the other libraries are trying to increase the type of filaments or the type of supplies, but I do know Matthew is using wood TPU and has produced some things that look a little bit different, and so that might be something to consider, is go ahead and expand some of your nozzles and trying to use different equipment. The problem, there is some problems with that. Sometimes one type of filament might cause issues for the next filament when you switch, especially when you did PLA with ABS. But right now, I don't think a whole lot of people are using ABS.
Matt said, since we've gained wood and glow in the dark capabilities, there's more interest, and they use wood PLA, not TPU.
Oh, I apologize.
Don't know what that is. Wood and GIT-D are abrasive, so you need a hardened steel nozzle. So as you can see, we have some experts in the field. Thank you for sharing.
Okay, is there any other questions? I see another chat. So 5 different filaments. Okay. Oops. I'm trying to get this, there you go. Okay, so we got the Bamboo Lab and the other printer that or vendor for printers that we recommend is the Creality. The Creality is coming out with something that's similar to the Bamboo Lab that Brittany right now, I believe, is the only one that has where you're able to do more than one color on a print. But the Creality K2 is coming out with that. One of the key things I want you to know is the K2 and the K1 and also the Bamboo Lab, they're all printing at about 600, which our old 3D printers were printing at about 150. So the speed and the quality is increasing, but of course, the time the time between major changes is also decreasing. So you put an investment in something now, then there is a chance that it might not be as good here in a year or two. That's obviously one of the downfalls that we have with technology. But Jake does I want to make sure that the Ender 3, even though it's not enclosed, it might be a better thing if you're thinking about trying to increase awareness of your, one of the things we did at Coffee County is I actually took 3D printers to fairs or things that the different libraries had, and it was basically there to spark some interest into the library, print a octopus keychain or something like that, and it gets people interested. So some of these are easier to carry, and they're easier to make sure that you align them right and everything when you're moving with them. But so the Ender 3 is not just because we like the K1 Max and those. Don't forget that there are some cheaper options too that you might consider. And again, those are a lot quicker than what the Ender 3 is quicker than what the Ender that we have right now. Jake, do you want to add anything on that?
No, I think you pretty well covered it.
Okay.
In the chat, Brandon just said when theirs isn't in use by a patron, he makes fidgets and puts them out for sale, and just uses it to get attention. So you can also use it for fundraising. I thought that was smart.
I think Matthew is doing that as well. And Brittany, weren't you trying that as well?
To a small degree of that, yes.
Okay.
Matt, are you talking about we get permission from the owner of the CAD file? Yeah, for sales. Okay.
Yes, if you're gonna sell something, you need to get permission,
Yeah.
Unless you
unless you
create-
designed it yourself.
That's right. But I don't think we have many of us doing that right now, so. Okay, the next one, the Cricut, I've heard different things. I know I was talking to Morgan one time about her Cricut that people aren't using it as much as people or the libraries would like, because a lot of folks have a Cricut J or Cricut Joy or a Cricut Maker 3 at home and they're using it. If you do have a large Cricut population or folks that are using that, but maybe you might look at getting the newest version, which is the Cricut Venture, which is a little bit bigger. And it's $800 to the $1,200, depending upon the packages that you get. I don't know if that's something that some of you might want to consider, but I just wanted to throw that out there as another idea of things that you might explore.
Yeah, I like that as an option for people to be able to come in and use the bigger one because they don't have room for the big one at home.
Right. And I think that's a good thing about makerspaces is hopefully we can provide maybe some options that they can't get at home. We're obviously the people that are interested in makerspaces, they're going to eventually get stuff on their own, but they might not justifying $1,000 versus $200 is probably a lot different. In my case, I'd have to sell more baseball cards to get the really good stuff. Okay, makerspace on laser engravers and cutters. Okay, you're gonna probably say, what, didn't you get a Glowforge? Why are you putting Creality first? Okay, one thing that we've noticed, the Glowforge, which is still, I'm gonna be taking to libraries and showing you some of the basic stuff. Been to a couple libraries already, but I do want you to know that the prices of the Creality at the 60 watt and the 40 watt are the same or cheaper than some of the stuff that we can get for Glowforge. I haven't, I think a couple of these would be okay with doing their own ventilation. That Glowforge was the main reason I went with that after I drank the Glowforge Kool-Aid was that it had the filter system. And I knew that we weren't going to probably have an area right by a window or something. So these are also, anytime that you're looking at items that are makerspace, you do need some ventilation planning in there. Matthew will tell you that that's important for the resin printer. And they bought a really nice Creality one and then made someone sick there for a little bit. So they're trying to figure out where they're going to put it. So those are some of the planning things that you have to take in effect. But I wanted to give you the price range for the Creality, and then here's the price range for the laser engravers for the Glowforge. As you can see, the ones that are considered performance engravers, these are costing a little bit more. They're 5,000 to 7,000, so they're not going to be probably for something with this grant, but you do have the chance to do the Aura and the Spark. We went with the Aura trying to get the bigger one or the bigger option. I would recommend if you are looking at things that maybe are trying to supplement your Cricut program, you might consider the Glowforge Spark at a little bit cheaper. It still has the option for the filter, but it might be, if you're trying to supplement your Cricut projects, that I think that is a good one to consider. But do let you know the Aura and the Spark does not allow you to do anything deeper than 3/4 of an inch, and it doesn't allow you to do any rotary. So there are some plus on the Creality, they've got some additional tools. Yes, Sharon.
So you were talking about that our Glowforge is at 10 watt, but the Creality, or however you say that, those were 40 and 60 watt.
They got 40
No.
and 60, and ours is actually a 6 watt.
6 watt. So I'm a Luddite. That means
Okay.
that it'll cut deeper, it'll cut more, it's tougher. It's what does that mean?
It'll cut, first of all, you'll be able to deal with more materials. It will cut deeper, it will cut quicker. And so if you are doing something that is engraving and you want it quick, you might look at, or you're trying to cut thicker material, something greater than 1/4 of an inch, which is basically our limitations on most of the Aura stuff. Or if you're wanting to do a little bit heavier metal and stuff like that, and you are focusing more on the cutting than the engraving, then you might want to consider the Creality. I think for most of the engraving, the Glowforge can probably meet the requirement there, but the cutting, that was a great question, Sharon.
Yeah, so for example, it might take 10 passes to get the level of engraving you want with our laser, and you might be able to do it in 1 pass on a bigger laser.
Right.
So it's just more powerful in general. Okay, thank
Yeah, Tim the Toolman Taylor would like the Creality better than the Glowforge. So. Okay, on the printers and copiers, I haven't really gotten in great detail here, but I mean, obviously printers can be anywhere from $250 to $1,000. And if you want something really high performance, or you're wanting something to replace your copier needs. I know that there's a few of your libraries that are needing to consider that. Let me know. I can try to reach out with some of the copier folks, that we have reached out as the vendors, see if we can get any better deals. But, the key thing on the printers is trying to figure out what you're wanting. Yes, Sharon?
Okay, so I want to make a plug for thermal printers for your receipt printers,
Mhm.
given the noise. We were at Iola, we replaced those old dot matrix super loud printers with quiet thermal receipt printers. So you can answer the phone while somebody else is printing a receipt and still have a conversation. And so we are carrying paper for both. And when it comes to copiers and printers, being able to serve the needs of your patrons who come with their phone or need wireless printing, something to consider.
Okay. So if any of you have any specific questions on printers and copiers, let us know and we can do a little bit more research. I do have links on the bookmarks page of, some of the sites that you can go to, so.
Okay. Gina, thank you. Gina says, you wouldn't believe the difference between those thermal and dot printers. They just switched as well.
Okay, this one I do want to go to their website because I want to. Let's go ahead and click on this. All of you, or most of you are probably familiar that nonprofits can get some very good deals through TechSoup. I would recommend that if you haven't gone to TechSoup lately, you might go ahead and explore. I know Microsoft is the key, or trying to get Microsoft Office. You can get some major discounts on there. You can get some stuff on, or if you're trying to do some increased stuff on Adobe Acrobat or the, obviously, I don't want you to be trying to get Windows 10 upgrade, okay? Just stay away from Windows 10 upgrade, but I think some of you have gone, have utilized QuickBooks Online and got some discounts through TechSoup on that. And there is some hardware, and I'm gonna do a little bit more research on this. I'm seeing the Dell discounts and it's saying $0 for the admin cost. I'm gonna try to compare that to some of the other Dells or the other discounts that we're getting directly through Dell, and I'll get back with you on that. Hotspots, if you are, just to let you know, E-Rate is going to start being able to fund some hotspot options for the schools and the libraries. However, if you're wanting something that you're trying to test a hotspot project that you want now, you might look at TechSoup and see if you can get a pretty good price on there. Servers and networking gear, if you see something you're interested in there, again, let me know or let Jake know, because we can get E-Rate Category 2 money, and where you're only paying for 20% of the cost instead of the whole cost. Now, I don't know if I don't know if TechSoup has got like great discounts on that, and maybe it's a non-issue when we compare it. And so you can address some of your issues now, but I know that we've got a recommended router that we've been testing out, and so far, I think we're pleased with that. Is that correct, Jake?
Yeah, I haven't gone in and looked at the reporting again recently. I was kind of just giving it some time to collect some information, and we need to look and see if it's going to do all the reporting we want.
Right.
But other than the reporting, everything else is great.
Okay.
And the reporting is just unknown yet. We haven't dug too deep.
So, and that, we were discussing the reporting after we were looking at some of what you guys are required to do with the state library survey. So we're hoping to get you that the different routers, we think this one's going to allow us to have some better reporting, but we're still not 100% sure. But and some other things, I mean, The consultant connection might be something that you might want to look at, TechSoup services. But I wanted you to definitely look at the hardware and, we haven't talked about desktops, or not desktops, but, laptops. Jake, do you have any, opinion on, Lenovo versus Dell?
I haven't really dealt with anybody except Dell since I've worked here, so
Okay.
not really.
I know that the Lenovo is becoming a popular brand for home purchases, but so that is another thing to consider.
The reason a lot of companies use Dell is because their support is excellent.
Right. And we have seen that, so, but that's not to say that you can't explore, but if you do decide that you wanting to lean toward that, give us, or let us know, and so we can try to, get some good comparisons and everything. So that's TechSoup. So I'm gonna go ahead and close that. And okay, we've talked about E-rate. So most of you, I believe, deal with, is it Ben? Is that the name of, okay. I think most of you deal with him for your category 1, but category 2 is something that you do need to consider too, especially cable. If you need to get some cabling done, or definitely routers, hotspots, switches, or if your closet, most of you are okay with your closets, but some of you have like a lot of stuff in there, you might possibly think about getting a server rack or something. Jake would have a little bit more experience dealing with that, but that's something to consider. I'm just going to briefly mention Dock and Adopt. There's 2 grants the state of Kansas are going to be looking at for round 2, and I'm going to be trying my best to trying to get where each county has a pretty good selection of makerspace stuff. That doesn't mean that you can't go ahead and try to get some makerspace stuff on your own. But if we do county, then there's going to be an expectation of sharing within the libraries on that. The Adopt, I know that there's been some ideas of having laptops where people can check out, and I think there was a project funded both under the Dock and a different one under the Adopt, and they were for the purchasing laptops for students at one of them was students at a college or at a community college that couldn't wait until the financial aid came, so they were able to check out laptops until they needed. And then I think Wichita and a couple other bigger libraries had some stuff where they were doing with patrons. And then don't forget your local resources, and again, TechSoup, but remember that almost you got items like events like Matching Tuesday. You can look at some of your local company or your local industry or companies and might say, hey, we're looking at trying to get some computers. We need 5 of them, but I can only get funding for 2 of them. Is there any way that you could do, or can we do a fundraiser where we can maybe that you would match if we can raise that? Each of the matchings, I think they work different, so you'll have to talk to your local, talk to the local companies or your counties. Some of them might know about that. Yes, Sharon.
So a lot of you guys have community foundations in your region. Call them, find out when they do local grants. I know in Iola and Allen County, we have the Your Community Foundation, and we have a small competitive grant project, but we give away $15,000 a year. So I would definitely agree. Make sure that you're putting out feelers, if you haven't already, to any family foundation or local foundation that's in your region.
Okay. Okay, I've got questions or discussion, but before I do this, I want to make sure that we explore one of the websites. If you go down to the bookmarks, go all the way down, suggested resources for ideas. I've got some links here to libraries that have some different types of makerspace. And I got the technology that says just technology, that's a Kaplan. Demco Technology had some good ideas in there. Lawrence Public Library is especially good for their sound labs and their vision labs. If you're looking at something like a green green screen, that might be some. Lawrence Public does have a very good program on that, and so Johnson County.
Recording and podcast studios as well.
Yes,
at Lawrence.
podcasting. I know Independence was, or Fab Lab had some podcasting. And if you haven't heard, I don't think, for those of you who are close to Fab Lab, I don't think that's gonna be a resource as much, because I noticed that their website, they went ahead and let it, they let it expire. So if you want to buy the Independence Fab Lab website, you can do that right now, but probably not worth it. But so that's another thing that we just lost a really good resource that's more for the colleges or for the college students there. And this is something for you to consider, that the library still can go ahead and provide a resource that some people might not have. I'm going to go to the Kaplan, and we're going to go to the technology. Now, there are some really nice stuff here that I might try to get some things for the doc grant, but the augmented reality, this is where the oh, thought that's where the road to live, or no, a live.
While you're looking for that, I'm gonna plug, just put into the chat the link to Network Kansas's 2024 Makerspace Summit in Emporia.
Okay.
Darren, April, and I went to it last year in 2023, and it was really good. And we got to go to the makerspace and incubation space in Emporia on a tour. It was worth it. And it's not, I mean, Emporia is not that far away. So.
Right.
Anyway, the
Sharon,
link is in chat.
I just noticed something, that we didn't record this.
Yes, we did. I took care of it.
Did you take care? Okay, good. I won't be fired for that. That's good. Other things maybe. Here's those rugs that I was talking about. And you can either do it on the tablet or on an interactive screen. There's different options. Like here's the one that, if you look on the tablet, it looks like the elephant. They're seeing the carpet. Obviously, the elephant is not right there in front of them, but on the tablet, it looks like it is. And there's some advantages of augmented reality. It allows somebody to put themselves in a situation that might be unique. So I just wanted to let you know on that. And then the technology, the computers and the tablets. Again, the little learner tablets powered by the Samsung Knox, it has software. There's both the 8.7 inch and the I believe the 8.7 and the 10 inch, 10.5 tablets. So that, again, if you are not wanting to try to figure out how to get your all computer replaced with a new one, and you have 3 computers, but you got a need for the early literacy. I think Moran was talking about this. This might be, instead of getting a desktop, this might be something, especially if you're looking for something for early literacy. This is a lot easier for them to use than Roblox or something like that. That a lot of folks, you got younger patrons that are there with their siblings, and their siblings are doing the Roblox, and they have no idea how to get on there. And sadly, a lot of a lot of us as staff don't always know how to get on there, so. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and, just want to emphasize those spaces for resources that you can get some ideas. And we're at 2:56, so I'm gonna go ahead and, does anybody have some questions? I hope it was worth your time here.
I have a question.
Yes, Sharon.
Does anybody have a robot club? And if you do, what robots do you use? I asked at Huntington Valley, we use Dash and Dot robots for our coding club. Not a thing in Southeast Kansas? Oh, okay, you do. All right.
Who does?
Gina said they have Dash and Dot at Chanute and Codapillar. Sharon at St. Paul says they have some, but nobody uses them. Matt at Coffeeville, they have Ozbot or Ozobot. Those are the little ones. I remember those. And Jennifer Davis asked for recommendations for label makers other than the Dymo. I don't know. What does Kim use? Do we have Dymo?
I think there's Zebra.
Oh, okay. And then Gina says they also have Parrot drones. So, all right. Thank you. And are you guys using them? Are you, I mean, is it still a thing, or do you have coding club? Are you doing, some of the fun things we did with the Dash and Dot was to use cups, those red solo cups and tennis balls, and they had to, make a maze, or, we had basically robot wars, but for the kids, and they had a lot of fun. But okay, good. Gina says they're popular in the summer. Janet at Lacine uses them with her after school STEM club. Sharon, do you want us to, we could just send them to us and we can play with your robots and then come out and do a training, right? Isn't that what we do? Yeah.
I would like to do that.
Yeah, see, I have staff who would love to play with your robots. Just stick them in the courier and we'll play with them. And then mouse coding. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Well, I appreciate your you attending, and I'll send out the revised handout that had more of the some of the comparisons for prices on some of the ideas. And if you have any great ideas that you're wanting to explore, again, let us know, and we'll try our best to reach out to get some quotes and see if there's particular vendors that we need to look at. But I have noticed that there are some vendors that can actually give us some prices a little bit cheaper than what some going direct on some of the sites are. I found a Bamboo Lab one that was there, so.
And this has been recorded, so it will get put up. And there's nothing, we'll just put it on the, we can put it listed on the YouTube channel.
Okay. We'll probably put a link on the technology page too,
As
where
well.
we've done the web training and stuff like that, so.
Yeah.
Okay,
And no, you can go to sekls.org and services and grants, and it's going to be there over on the right-hand side or left-hand side.
Jake, is that on now?
Yep, I already checked.
You checked, okay. I know
Yeah, the online one is, I don't know, are we doing a paper one this time?
Uh,
There wasn't one in the folder, if so.
okay. Reach out if you need a paper version.
I like that.
It's a technology grant. Push you to use technology.
I've been pushing to do away with paper ones for years, so.
I know. So we'll make you have to jump through a hoop to get it.
Okay, well,
All
thank
right.
you, everybody.
I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording
Okay.
and